Welcome to Thursday. It's good for me to be back home. Um, Still not quite as hot as it was in Southeast Asia, but it's wonderful to be back on a time zone that I'm familiar with. So I understand some of you, it's the next day. Some of you, it's the middle of the night. So thank you so very much for just being live with us today. We have two wonderful brand ambassadors, both Gabriel and Buffy, both from California, both from Southern California, and probably within 50 miles of each other. So it'll be wonderful to see them today and hear how they do art. And again, it's wonderful to be with you. So hope you enjoy today. Gabriel, Buffy, welcome. And
Thank you, John.
yeah, you're so welcome. Which one of you would like to go first?
Buffy goes first. She starts with a B.
Okay, the B will go first.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me today. Let's watch. So today I wanted to just share the beauty of these colors, and each of my rows and columns on my Daniel Smith dot cards serve a purpose. So this first row here is your Hansa Yellow Light, Quinacridone Sienna, Quinacridone Red, Quinacridone Magenta, Phthalo Turquoise, and Phthalo Blue Red shade. These colors I consider to be my smooth mixers. They're highly transparent. They make wonderful color mixes. And I thought it would be great to swatch the colors out while I talk a little bit about why I chose each of them. I was very excited that I was able to have them on the dot card in a certain, in the certain order, so I could teach and share which ones mix well together. So this is the Hansa Yellow Light. And as you can see, it's a great, beautiful, vibrant, sunny yellow. It's great for mixing your bright reds, turning them to fire engine, wonderful grass greens. And then we have the Quinacridone Sienna, and this is one of my very favorite colors. It is such a beautiful orangey, kind of like a burnt sienna, but way more on the orange side. And it is also a beautiful mixer. Quinacridone Red, which is a pinky red in its full strength, watered down. You can get it to very soft rose colors. Quinacridone Magenta, similar to the red, but just has a little bit more punch to it. And it too, all of these smooth mixer colors will also water down to a beautiful pale version. So they're also very staining. The quinacridones are kind of medium staining, and these phthalos, the phthalo turquoise and the phthalo blue red shade, are considered high staining. So when you're using these, they can be very dominant in mixes and they can dye the paper, but the result is this smooth transition between the colors that is just, I can't get over it. So those colors mix into wonderful secondaries and all kinds of different mixes, which I'll share as we go along. The next column I call...
Whoa. Buffy, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but okay, how'd you get those perfect circles?
Okay, so I use these ramekins for painting, and I found this. These are called Boya crayons. They're BOYA. They come in different color sets, and I got them at the Art Supply Warehouse in Westminster, so you can get them online there. I don't know where else they sell them, but I just put it on there and did the little circle, and it creates the perfect resist. Really fun. Whoa, he said. Okay. This next column are the granulating cousins of the smooth mixers. So they're similar in color, but since these are transparent, non-granulating colors, these will be highly granulating and kind of exciting. So we have raw sienna-light, transparent red oxide, enviro-friendly brown iron oxide, rose of ultramarine, Prussian green, and French ultramarine. So we're going to start with raw sienna-light. And raw sienna-light is not a dominant color at all. It has a very low tinting strength. So you need to put a little bit more in your mixes, but it's so beautiful. It has this kind of grassy yellow grass glow. So where I live in California, our hills are only green a couple months of the year. The rest of the season, it's usually right around here. All the grasses on the mountains turn this beautiful raw sienna yellow. Transparent red oxide. Look at that. Look how bold that color is. And it is just similar to the quinacridone sienna, but a little bit more on the brown side. Heavy granulation. And this color just steals the show in a lot of my paintings. The enviro-friendly brown iron oxide is a wonderful color that has a really neat story behind it. John talks about that in a few of his lives he's done. But basically, when you buy the enviro-friendly iron oxide colors, it comes in yellow, red, and brown. You are supporting the cleanup of super fun sites. So you're giving back with each purchase. And this color is very exciting because as it waters out, it has this neat color separation. I don't know how else to describe it, but the brown will kind of pull away and you'll get this peach color left behind. Rose of ultramarine is my purple. And this color is also very granulating and exciting when mixed with other colors. Looks really cool when you mix it with the brown. You can see it kind of mingling right there. Just really beautiful color. The Prussian green plays well with the rose of ultramarine. I'm gonna let them play right there. And this reminds me of the mountains. I live at the base of Big Bear Mountains out by Idlewild. I'm kind of in between Idlewild, Wrightwood, and Big Bear. So this reminds me of the pine in the shade of our mountains. And then French ultramarine. And I gotta tell you guys, French ultramarine is one of the most exciting colors, I think, in the Daniel Smith line, because it glows. It glows even when it's just completely watered down. If you add a little of this into your shadows, they'll just pop and sing. And then the last column, I call my magic mixers. So these are colors that I could mix with these, a similar hue, but they behave in a way or have a characteristic that makes them really exciting. So it really adds something to my paintings. These ones are the Bronzite Genuine, which is a Prima Tech color. The Lunar Earth, Sepia, Payne's Gray, Lunar Blue, and Kyanite Genuine. And not only do all of these colors mix well going across and up and down, but pretty much all the colors on my palette get along. They mix and mingle in a way and blend well. So it's a great palette to try out for the beginner and for the advanced artist. So starting with the Bronzite, it has a little bit of a sparkle, and to me represents the sandy beaches of our California coastline. The Lunar Earth is like clay when you put it on thick, and it'll even crackle in your paintings. A lot of people like the Lunar Black and use that in the paintings, and that leaves that high granulating black deposit. Well, the lunar earth will leave a high granulating clay colored deposit in your mixes. And I'll share a little bit more about that. But it can be absolutely beautiful because fully watered down, you get some excitement. And then when you put it on super thick, it'll crack and become opaque, even though it's not technically an opaque color. Sepia is this awesome coffee colored brown or mushroom colored brown. And its granulation is a little bit different because the sediment that it leaves looks like pepper sometimes on your papers. That's another exciting one. I paint a lot of watercolor pouring, a lot of wet onto wet. And so these different colors having these different reactions in full strength and watered down really matter to me. Then we have Payne's Gray. Who doesn't like Payne's Gray? Oh, that's right. Some people just refuse it. And I think they're missing out. It is a historically beautiful color. It's fascinating. If you're ever doing a pet portrait, a cat's tail, stormy skies, just a beautiful color. Then we have our lunar blue. So in my skies, a lot of times I'll do the French ultramarine, lunar blue, and Payne's Gray together to get stormy clouds. The lunar
Buffy,
blue,
someone's asking about your palette.
this.
Yeah, they want to know who it is by.
Okay, let me swatch this really quick because I'm a weirdo and I want everything to mingle, and then I'll tell you all about it. The last color is kyanite, and this one is bronzite's best friend. Just how that makes me think of the sandy beaches. This makes me think of overcast, stormy days at the beach. Kyanite also has a little bit of a sparkle. And as you can see, as these colors touch and mingle, you just get these beautiful color blends and exciting new colors to check out. So this palette of mine is about it's about $12, $12 to $20 depending on where you find it. And it's by Meaden, and it actually has 33 wells. But if you skip each row, then it takes your 18 colors of your dot card perfectly. And then it has a little tray that comes out of it. It is plastic. It comes in a few different colors. It comes in, I think, blue, black, yellow, and this orangey red. But if you use a white plastic eraser, it'll erase any stains that are on there. It'll come completely clean. Thank you for asking. I really like this palette, and I don't have to worry about it breaking or busting. I've dropped it about 100 times. And so really quick, while these dry, I wanted to show you some mixes with these colors that are kind of exciting, because when I first started watercolor, I wish somebody told me and taught me mixing from the start, because I always judged a color by it straight out of the tube. I didn't understand how versatile certain colors are and the amazing different color mixes you can get with them. So I wanted to share some best friends from this color world. And I absolutely love being a part of Daniel Smith because I found other people who love swatching and learning about pigment as much as I do, which was really exciting. So the first one I wanted to share is that enviro-friendly brown iron oxide. So you could see how incredibly dark it is in full strength. But let's water that down. Let's introduce some water to it. And watch how it spreads. That's something I really enjoy about watercolor, is the effect it has, how it interacts with the paper, the type of paper we're using, the water, how much the paint to water ratio is, how it moves across the paper. For me, half of the fun is actually painting. If it comes out to a successful painting or not, but enjoying the process as I'm painting is more important to me. So I enjoy these interactive colors. Here are the lunars together. So I'm going to do a little bit of the lunar earth and a little bit of the lunar blue. And then I'm going to let them play. Look at that beautiful neutral I just got. And look at how pretty they look touching each other and just mixing and mingling. How it spreads, how it pushes and pulls. Each pigment acts a little bit different. Look at that amazing light pale gray that came up. Gosh, I don't know. Am I the only one that just thinks that's so exciting? How about quinacridone sienna, which is one of my favorites, and the French ultramarine. So see, the quinacridone sienna shoots across, but so does that French ultramarine. And then where they meet in the middle, again, you can get this fascinating dark brown, a little bit more of the French ultramarine. It can go to a gray and then to a black. All that granulation is going to create interesting effects, and those colors are going to kind of pull and push and battle. I believe John explained it once as how they float and how they settle into the paper. So to me, that's a lot of fun. The kyanite and the bronzite, which are the two Primatex on my paper, also create one of my favorite colors. And when I show people, it becomes a lot of their favorite too. It creates this gray that's granulating and sparkling. So it's like a magic gray. And of course you can shift it if you want it more warm, a little bit more bronzite. If you want it more cool, a little more kyanite. That enviro-friendly brown iron oxide, if we put that together with the transparent red iron oxide, you can get some great, wonderful, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. I'm going to keep spinning it just so the glare from my light, hopefully you'll be able to see it as it's drying and get a little bit more. Here's one that's kind of fun. Your Prussian green. How dark that is. So nice and dark. And your rose of ultramarine. I'm sure you can guess. Can you guys guess what that one will make?
Pine grays.
So even though my palette is so bright and colorful, these are all mixing colors. So you can get just a fascinating assortment of neutrals, earthies, really vibrant colors. My favorite black, and there's a lot. For one thing, Daniel Smith has a lot of blacks. But guess what? They all have a personality all their own. The McCracken black, oh my gosh, it reminds me of black, like Higgins India ink as it glides across the paper and washes. Joseph Z's cool gray, it has a blue that'll pull away from the black. So each of the colors are quite amazing, but my favorite black is a mix. And that is the sepia with my Payne's gray. So there they are by themselves. And I'm going to show you the black the two make. See that? And you can adjust it, again, cooler or warmer. But this black is just beautiful. Like it got a little bit brown, so I can add a little more Payne's gray. So you can adjust and get that best black, the color that best suits the mood of your painting. And again, it'll water down and have amazing granulation. And then lastly, if you think about how many, is it triad or triad? But how many 3-color palettes you can get. You know, your yellows, you know, your earthy yellows, for instance, could be a neat alternative, or that bronzite could be a neat alternative to a yellow. You've got all these wonderful blues to choose from. Let's do an earthy one, just for fun. Let's do that raw sienna light, which is, look how bright that is now that it's against all these neutrals. And I'll do the transparent red. And how about that French ultramarine? And then if we mix them all up in the middle, we get something cool every time. So my goal when I chose my dot card colors was definitely to find a palette to where I could try and make just about any color that there is. And with these, I found so many, it seems like every few months I'll unlock a new color combination that just fascinates me and is exciting. Here's that best black. See the range versus using a flat black. But if you take, you know, just a little bit of water, because these are granulating colors, you'll get a lot of excitement in them as well. The Jane's blacks are pretty awesome too, though. The Jane black, blue orange. Oh my goodness, that one's amazing. So here are some of my favorite magic mixes that come from this very vibrant and colorful world. So when you're choosing your palette, you know, don't be afraid to throw some Primatex and some highly granulating colors. And that way you will always have endless color combinations. I also wanted to share really quick some runner-ups, some colors that almost made it, because picking our colors, that was a daunting challenge. I'm sure a lot of people can relate. And so some of the colors that almost made the cut, this was my original swatch for them, was I wanted to have a white. I really like the Chinese white for some of my watercolor pouring, and you splatter it in. The raw sienna versus the raw sienna light, that was a really hard decision, but the raw sienna can be a little challenging to beginner painters, so I chose the raw sienna light because it mixes a little bit better. But the raw sienna is dull lightful. It has like this dull matte finish, but it's just beautiful to splatter into your work. The burnt umber is a perfectly balanced brown. Your cobalt blue and cobalt blue teal, cobalt teal blue. This one's on so many people's dot cards. It's amazing. And then of course we have the hematite genuine. And I'm going to show you, I'm going to hurry, but I want to show you something with that color. The pyrmantite, the lunar black, the sodalite, and the graphite gray. So if we ever expand to a larger palette, those would probably make the cut. I wanted to show you guys one more thing since we're here talking about pigment. And that is, this is the Hansa Yellow Light, the quinacridone magenta, and the phthalo turquoise. The watercolor sticks have two colors that can change your entire palette. And it's the pearlescent white and the hematite genuine. So the hematite genuine, if you put that, you know, into your color mixes, it will make any color granulate. It'll make any color have sediment. And it's quite, it's not colorless, but it's very, it's not strong pigment. It's very low tinting strength. So it doesn't, see, the colors are almost the same, but the colors now have granulation and a sediment in them, which can make them a little bit more exciting. The pearlescent white, you mix some of that up and add it to any color, that color then becomes a sparkly magic color. So if you guys like, look at that. So if you guys like the sparkle and you want to try it out, but you don't want to commit to buying a whole bunch of new paints, you can do that hack. And then if you like it, check out all the iridescence and the interference and all of the duochrome colors that Daniel Smith has. Isn't that exciting that those two sticks can change your palette so much? And then lastly, one more thing is the difference in paper. So this is some of those colors on hot press. So depending on what kind of paper you're using is also going to change the way that your paints behave. Look at the granulation on the lunar Earth here. So a lot of people think that the paper is what causes the granulation effects and that kind of thing, because the texture on the paper will capture the sediment in a certain way. But Daniel Smith's colors, it doesn't really need something to capture it. Look at that. It's just amazing to me. The lunar blue. So playing with different papers, different, additives, adding a little shimmer, adding a little granulation, and just exploring your colors I think will make you a better artist. And lastly, if you liked some of these color mixes, the Daniel Smith has the Hansa Yellow Light, Quinacridone Sienna, Quinacridone Red, Phthalo Turquoise, and Phthalo Blue Red shade in a stick. So you could have those smooth mixers that I talked about. But a good rule of thumb is your Hansas, your quinacridones, and your phthalos will all be smooth mixers. They're all transparent and beautiful and get along great. And I think I'm just out of time, but I wanted to share, if any of you really want to go on a deep dive about these colors with me, I'm doing a series on my YouTube channel. This is a great sketchbook by Michael Solyev. He sells these on his website, watercoloronline.com. He has the Bahong paper, and this one is the Saunders Waterford paper. And so in each video, I'm doing a study of each of my colors on my dot card. So I call them swatch and scapes, where I swatch them out and then I do an abstract or semi-abstract scape. So that one's Quinacridone Sienna. This one is Quinacridone Red. This one's Quinacridone Magenta. And then this one I did this week is the Phthalo Turquoise. So if any of you want to check that out, I think Ethel will put the link in the description box.
Just about to put it in the chat, and it's there now.
Wonderful. Thank you. Thank you for letting me share my color world today.
Oh, fantastic job.
This is fantastic, Buffy.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Thank you.
And everyone in the audience also. Very beautiful feedback. Thank you.
Thank you, Buffy.
Thank you, guys.
Before we moved on, was there any questions for Buffy?
Buffy, how did you make your circles again? Did you take that wax crayon and rub it onto your ramekin?
No, I placed it down and then I just did a circle around it.
Oh, okay.
A piece of scratch paper.
Buffy, could I please ask, what would be your best mix for really dark, stormy skies over a sea at nighttime?
At nighttime? You know what's funny? Who asked that question? I didn't see.
Sarah.
See, artists' minds think alike, because I was thinking we need an iridescent black, John. So So what was it again? So I just did the circle. A stormy, dark sky at night. Let's do some.
Overseas. Yeah.
Let's do
Maybe you
some
can add the pearlescent white, like you said.
Paint gray and the, let's see, some French ultramarine blue, some lunar blue, some Payne's gray. Mix all that up, a little bit of sepia. I'm a mixer. I like to mix colors up and play with it. And then see how that white circle starts?
Mhm.
Mm.
Thank you, Buffy.
You're welcome, guys. But yeah, I think that you could do some splatter, take some masking fluid, splatter it on the paper before you start. Very fine little splatter. Let that dry and then paint your stormy sky over it.
Buffy made an eclipse.
Yeah, real quick, this is for my regular stormy skies, and that's the French ultramarine, Payne's gray, and lunar blue, and that creates some really fun effects. So thank you for letting me share, you guys.
Thanks.
Very nice. Thank you, Buffy.
Thank you, Buffy.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Way to go, Buffy. Thank you so much. I learned so much from everyone. Thank you, John, for having me, and Ethel. This is one of my paintings from a series that I recently did for Balboa Park. And these are the kind of paintings that you can do with my dock card. They're nice, loose, lovely landscapes. And before I picked my dock card, I got pretty crazy and I made one of these. And these are the colors that you can make with my dock card. Isn't that lovely? That's what my brain looks like on the inside. That's just because I picked all my favorite colors. So I'm pretty sure my brain looks that complicated. And there's some lovely, lovely mixes, but it's good to see the mixes dry, okay? When we're mixing paint, it looks different, right? Whether it's 15 to 20%, maybe sometimes 10 if you're lucky, when it gets lighter. So this is what the mixes look like when they're dry. But let's go ahead and actually look at my dog card. So I always have one of these sketchbooks. This is a Kilimanjaro. And I like to do these little mixes. This was a mix going through the Daniel Smith line on looking at what my other fellow brand ambassadors use for flesh colors. Here's another study that I was looking for some colors for a little piece. Here's some other little mixes and whatnot. You know, you gotta have a little sketchbook that you allow yourself to play. I think that is the biggest thing that I enjoyed during the pandemic and doing these lives with John for the last 4 years is you've got to get past using some watercolor paper. So we'll run through and swatch these, all right? So the first one up is Cerulean Blue. It's a really good sky blue. And that's just a lovely, lovely color to work with. Another color I use for the sky is over here. It's lavender. And you can also see how I use these colors on my YouTube channel. And we also got some ultramarine blue. Okay. So that's down here somewhere. Ultramarine blue down here. And it's always debatable. I mean, we could debate about it, but here we got some Sleeping Beauty, which works really well. It's a permatech. I love using it for the ocean waters, just right down the street from here. And we have some other permatechs I really enjoy Tiger's Eye. I mean, I'm wearing Tiger's Eye. It's my stone. Lapis is also my favorite stone. So we got some Tiger's Eye in there. We're gonna let it just mingle with the other swatches. When I'm not using Tiger's Eye, I'm using Yellow Ochre. It's definitely a fall color. And we got raw sienna. If I need just a little more garish, some more just chroma, I need that raw sienna to be working for me. And if you like that ultramarine, yes, of course, you need that rose of ultramarine. I got rose of ultramarine on my palette because a lot of people I paint with the limbs and crimson. And I just wanted to change it up. But we do have permanent limbs and crimson. It's right here. So you can see the difference. All right. And moving on over to the other red, we got Pyro Red. This is just a real sexy color. I just love it. It makes great t-shirts on my people when I'm at the people to pop. Quinacridone Deep Gold. My students ask me all the time, Gabriel, I already have Quin Gold. Is it the same as Quin Gold Deep? And I say, no, it's not. Why? Because it has more bandwidth. It almost looks brown on my dot card, and I can add more water to make this a Quin Gold, okay? So it's a really strong color. Next we got olive green. Some people just love those olives, and I got me some olive green. Sometimes when we're out there plein air painting, we're already giving a quart of blood to the mosquitoes, and I don't look forward to mixing tons of colors out there and letting the mosquitoes eat away. Another green I really enjoy is green apatite. This is a permatech stone. It is just luscious. And once you add water to it, I'll show you here shortly, it has just, it's all about granulation. Hansa Yellow Light here is just a must have. You gotta have a cool yellow and a warm yellow in your palette. It's just fundamental. Hematite Burnt Scarlet. This was another color instead of using burnt sienna. I really enjoy the hematite, and I don't know what it is, but this attracts people to my paintings, and they are wearing a hematite bracelet. I don't know. I haven't had the answer to that universal question. We got Moonglow here. Who doesn't love Moonglow? Like, I don't know who could not use this color because it's got a great story and it's amazing. Moonglow for you. I love it. I love it for shadows. I could not have Moonglow in a painting, would make me sad. Lunar Black. This is my color that I drop into stuff that I need to granulate. Lunar Black. Right there. And you see there's one here. It's iridescent. It's an Aztec gold, and this color has gotten me into so much trouble. I'll put a little bit of this in there, and people are like, "You just want us to look at your painting," and I do put it in a painting to get all the ladies to look at it, right? And so yes, I'm being silly, but the only problem is when I'm doing shows that are out of San Diego and the international shows, it doesn't show up on the camera. And so, but it definitely looks lovely behind glass with a lovely frame. All right, so let's go back to these mixes. that we get on this lovely guy here. This has been an eye-opener for me. There are so many times when you are working from a photograph or you're working out there and you're like, I know I can mix that color. And, one of the things I like to do is add a lot of lavender to some colors. And here's lavender here. And so look at this beautiful range of colors when you're making some opaques. Okay, this lavender is a semi-opaque color. Okay, and when I need some other area of my painting to really just have that luminosity, that gorgeous pop of just transparent watercolor, I do make other areas of my painting look semi-opaque. That's just something I enjoy. Now, I do have some other examples before I do some other mixes for you. And that is, these are just some lovely paintings done while out and about or in the studio. And I know some of you are still struggling with, hey, I'm painting plein air, but I'm painting in the studio and people could tell. They're saying, my paintings look like they're two different people. And I'm just going to tell you, friend, just keep painting. And when you stick to the same palette, your paintings are going to start looking like your own voice. Okay. So I'm very grateful that Daniel Smith had us pick a palette. Here's Italy, and then here's Pennsylvania. Here's Queen Mary, and then we're back in Pennsylvania. And so, whether some days it's a gray day and you're using very minimal chroma, or some days that you just look one way and paint the other way. You don't have to always go to a mountaintop to paint something, but find something that grabs your heartstrings and paint it. Have that wonderful grouping of colors and allow yourself to just dive. So just paint, friends. You're gonna create some amazing works of art. And I'm almost through this thing. Look at these. These are just beautiful, lovely days of painting. And the more and more you paint, the more and more you're gonna be able to just have something to talk about. So let's look at a couple of mixes I like to do. And with
Those were
that,
awesome, Gabriel. Those paintings were amazing. You can see your style, and I love how you use your colors opaquely in some areas. Just wonderful.
oh, thank you so much.
Gabriel, what size were those paintings? Approximately.
What's that?
Yeah, what size were the paintings you just showed us? 8
Those
by
were
10,
all
8 by 12?
those were all quarter sheet paintings.
Okay,
So I like to take a full sheet of paper,
yeah.
tear it into fours, and go to
Lovely
town.
painting.
And and I'll be honest with you, some of those paintings probably have paintings on the back that I don't like. Yeah. And so let's look at some lovely things here, because I've got some other colors that are not on the dot card, and you've got to still have some other colors. This right here is our good old cobalt blue. Cobalt blue cannot do some things that ultramarine blue can do. Okay, these two are different animals. And for a good example is if I go over here and get this lovely yellow ochre, and I put it right here and I mix it right into there. That, if I play around, and I get, this is mixing onto the surface, right? It's definitely different than mixing into the palette. So I can create a nice chrome gray, like if I was doing like a 1950 Chevy. But does that work with ultramarine blue? And it's not my favorite. Okay, so there are some colors on this palette that aren't on that dot card. Okay, and the way you can find that out is come over and hang out with me on YouTube. I also had this workshop that's this Saturday on a Zoom. If you want to email me, and you heard about it here today, I'll let you in. We got a couple of spaces left. But here is the lavender, and I was talking about lavender a minute ago, and one of the fun mixes that I love with the lavender is it's crazy, but it's the Sleeping Beauty. And I'm gonna throw that Sleeping Beauty in there. And what happens is I can get that wonderful coastal feel with the two of them. There's another color that's not on my dot card, and that's goethite. I love saying goethite instead of brown ochre. This color just makes just a lovely beach, right? As it's hitting into the water, put some Sleeping Beauty into that, and it just makes it look like that lovely water that's coming up onto the beach. Now we splatter some water on here, we start getting some lovely granulation going on. Okay, and the dry brushing is redonkulous. It's just so stinking lovely. If I just get a big chunk of that goethite just on a nice brush, and I hit this, I can create some really warmth sand here. Another mix that is quite fun I do for grass, because I never paint like little strands of grass. I want the paint to do all the work for me. And so it helps to have some good paper. And this paper is Saunders Waterford or Fabiano. I like a paper that can take some work. Okay, so this granulation that's happening right now is because these minerals, these permatech minerals, they love now having water. Just like your own bodies love having water, these permatechs, you start adding in some water, it just gets lovely. Now, this is where I get just crazy with my painting is now I'm gonna add some moon glow, and I'm gonna do some upward strokes. And I am painting on an angle, so now these strokes are coming down, okay? So I'm showing you the mixes, but I'm also telling you right now the application is, this is an area of maybe a grassy area that's kind of then falling over a ridge maybe to this area that might be down in here, some water. Okay, see that? Now, your painting always is maybe sitting like this, right? But did you know that you're allowed to do this, okay? You're allowed to turn your painting on the side. I don't know if anyone's told you this, but I'm gonna tell you, if I turn my painting on the side, now just with some lovely water here, I can drop some water in here, okay? I'm not taking my brush. I'm not like, right? I'm just dropping in some water. And that's what I love. This paint can take a lot of direction. I'm so done with people thinking watercolor is the hardest medium. I personally think watercolor is the most forgiving medium. If you work your painting while it's still wet, you can still get a lot more done with your painting. All right, so another wild and crazy color that's on here. Let me look at the time. Whoa, we got 9 minutes. I just recently put some indigo in here. Okay. And I can drop some indigo right in here, like so. I could go even darker. And then I got some clean super water, right? So I got this little mason jar with this sweet little leather. Check this out. This is one of my favorites. It's got this cool crown thorn deal on there. Leather. Holds my mason jar. Super cool, right? I can't tell you where to buy it because there was only a couple made. But you could find lots of other artisans that are making amazing things and support other living artists. Anywho, I digress. So you're allowed to turn your painting around, manipulate it, and add as much water in here, okay? And you can develop some gorgeous, lovely paintings. So a lot of this painting was done. Look at this. This right here is that green apatite with that moon glow in it. Isn't that wild? Okay. And then look at this. This is the rose of ultramarine that's in there. Okay. Some pyro red, some sleeping beauty. Okay. Check this out. This, do you know what this is? That's the Quinn Gold Deep. There's so much water in that, friends. There's so much water in that it's a khaki color. And it starts out with that crazy gold, right? This had an underpainting of also the Quinn Gold before I laid down this other mixture. And for the road, that sky, lovely sky there. The lighting is not the best. That is just lovely lavender along with the cerulean blue. That's all I got. Short and sweet.
Gabriel, did you put that dog in and yourself in that painting? Is that you?
You know, I used to have a dog and his name was Fred. And Fred was my buddy. So yes, Fred is no longer with us and Fred makes it into a lot of my paintings. But
And that does look like you.
San Diego is the most well-friendly dog city in California. You can go anywhere with your dog. Any other quick questions?
Which colors did you use in your last demonstration there, your blues? With your
Over here?
grass? Up in the right-hand corner.
The grass was just painted over the top of whatever else was there to demonstrate that you can't really ruin the piece. And so what we have here is some green apatites, and then we have some of that moon glow in there. And then maybe you could watch the replay and see how it's totally done all over again. And stop it and pause it and try it. Yeah.
Great.
Thank you so much, John and Ethel, for having me, and all the Daniel Smith brand ambassadors that are always here. I really love you and adore you and appreciate all of you doing these. Thank you, John, for having me be a
We
part of
missed
the
you
first
when
Aging
you were
Cast.
gone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Gabriel.
Gabriel, I
Yes,
love your
Gabriel.
mixes. Really beautiful, beautiful.
John,
Thank you.
We-
That means a lot to me.
And thank you, Buffy.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you,
Yeah,
Buffy.
beautiful, Buffy.
Gabriel, those were wonderful.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, both of you.
Thank you, everybody, for joining today. I hope you can join us tomorrow. Look forward to seeing you next week if you can. Try to take some refuge in this heat. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you very
Bye.
much. Thank you, Gabriel.
Thanks for doing this.